Welcome to a new episode of Imperial Interlude. I'm Tim, tired as fuck. With me is Ralph, hopefully a bit more energetic than I am. Hello, Ralph.
Hi, Tim. Yes, I'm a bit more energetic than you by the sounds of it.
This is good. So, this is going to be a possibly rather short segment because we just wanted to be talking about the upcoming release of The Bad Batch, the animated series that is going to be out on Tuesday, the 4th of May, on Disney Plus.
Indeed.
So, what are we going to expect for that first episode that is, as you have told me, 70 minutes long?
It's 70 minutes, and I know that there's, as you can imagine, with the internet, we all love the internet, don't we? You know, the rumor mill flies up and down, left and right, especially when anything Star Wars related seems to hit. But there is some, shall we say, there's some evidence of what might be happening in the episode, and it goes off the trailer, but also off some of the merchandise that's been dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So from the second trailer, not the first trailer, but the second trailer that was dropped, which has got a little bit more the story where you get to see the character Echo,
Mm-hmm.
which is the little girl, which I'm assuming is a way of shoehorning kids into watching an animated Star Wars, even though it was probably going to happen anyway. It's having that linking character, or that character that people can relate to. If you notice in the back end of the trailer, you see 4 of the Bad Batch, and there's a member missing.
No, I actually didn't see that coming.
And that member as well is only seen once in the trailer, and that's Crosshair, who's the sniper.
Hmm.
Now, what links the merchandise stuff is there's been screenshots and people have posted up images of the box text for the Black Series minis that are coming out, which I've got on pre-order. So I've got Hunter, and I think it's Hunter and Crosshair coming, and then you've got Tech and Wrecker coming later in the year. And in Crosshair's information, it basically way it sounds, and I'm sort of paraphrasing roughly what was said, that he's going to betray the Bad Batch and join the Empire.
I had to believe, actually.
I'm not sure, because if you look at if you do watch that second trailer, you hardly see him in anything, and you don't see him when they are on the ship going to hyperspace. When Fives has got his thing in, and there's a scene when they're with Echo running through corridors. There's only 4 members of the Bad Batch, and it's Wrecker. You know, the obvious ones you can see are Wrecker, Hunter, and Tech, and Fives with Echo. You don't see Crosshair anywhere. So I'm wondering if that will happen.
It sounds like it could be possible, but I think the way they introduced the characters originally in Clone Wars, I think that would be a very tough sell.
It may be the twist, because imagine if because the series is going to be, and I think we can probably see it's the rise of the Empire. So what happens to the Bad Batch? We know Tarkin is the villain, along with Palpatine's in there as well. Because we do get the rise of the Galactic Empire and stuff, and we know Tarkin is the villain. And from the trailer, you can see that Tarkin doesn't like the Bad Batch because they don't take orders well. It's an independent unit. Yeah.
Do you think we'll get the Execute Order 66?
We might, because we know that this is set sort of that post, so that timeline the same as where the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars sat. So we know it's probably around the beginning of this. I think will probably be around that 3rd episode where Ahsoka, where Rex turns on Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So it's after the Siege of Mandalore. So you get the 2 episodes of the Siege of Mandalore, then you get the 2 episodes on the ship, didn't you? And I think the Bad Batch is probably going to be where the ship episodes are. So I think we may get Order 66. But something that's going to have to be addressed is why they, say, for example, the Bad Batch didn't turn on any Jedi. if they did, do they have chips? Do they not have chips? Are the chips, malfunction because they are clones with desirable defects?
I'm guessing the latter one, simply incompatible with the chips.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that their mutations cause the chips to not work. So I think all clones have the chips. I just think it's depends on whether there's something that's blocking the chip.
Yeah, and
But
coming back to the child that is in the trailer, I
yeah,
think
Echo is the
the
name of the
little
character.
girl is a bit similar plot device like Grogu was for the first time.
And Ezra as well from Rebels.
Yeah, it's something like, yeah, you need somebody you can relate to, you can feel for, and at some point, I think possibly within the first 3 or 4 episodes, she'll be either be dismissed or have her own place in this community of weirdos.
Well, I think she's definitely going to be beyond those episodes because you see, there's scenes of her fighting with them. She's got some sort of energy bore, which is similar to the energy bore that the Night Sisters had in that second trailer.
Mm.
So, the thing is she? I wonder if she's a clone, and a female clone at that, which we've never seen before.
I
Within
was
the Star, all of the clones that we've seen have been based off Jango Fett and been
Yeah,
male. So I'm wondering if she is a clone based off a female donor or a female clone or a clone of Jango Fett that's had the gender changed to be female.
or if they've or she is some kind of experiment that is in conjunction with the Night Sisters.
Yeah, and maybe a force sensitive clone they've tried.
Yes,
Because I'm wondering
cloning
this.
seems to get a very large role in Star Wars recently. I've
Yeah,
seen excerpts of comics where Vader is being showing with a cut off hand in some weird suspension.
yeah,
And
it's
we
Luke's
don't
hand.
know. I couldn't tell if this was his hand or maybe the hand of Luke.
It's supposedly the hand of Luke.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
there are some theories that are saying that from this hand they've cloned what later becomes what's his face
Snoke.
Prime Leader Snoke.
Yeah.
I was just about to say Snorkel, but
Well, it could be Snorkel, we never know, do we? It's like Supreme Leader Snorkel. Yeah, that's right.
that's an image you're not going to get out of your head soon.
Nope. Let's just pass that image to everybody that listens.
Now I want a Snorkel's army for Legion. Oh, speaking of what I want, I was again in the Twitch stream
Oh
and
dear.
asked for my little tiny
Yes, you
thing.
did, yeah.
Yeah, I was at Friday and they didn't reply to me this time.
Uh,
Sodden bastards.
do you think they're getting a little bit tired of it's him again?
I would be very astounded if they wouldn't get annoyed by it, but that's the whole point.
Well, I mean, if enough people ask for it, they, something may come of it. I guess, in this little side is, I'm guessing they are basically going through with all of the releases that FFG had, probably up until end of next year. I'm assuming because there would have been stuff in the pipeline.
Yeah, they said
it's like
everything
18 months,
that's
isn't it?
going to be released this year is still with the handwriting of Fantasy Flight games, and also the boxes will still have the Fantasy Flight logo. So before I'm guessing the later part of this year, we will not see anything new announced, possibly.
Well, Gen Con, it depends what Gen Con announces, doesn't it? But I'm guessing at Gen Con we might see more of the Kashyyyk stuff that's coming, like the Wookiees and the Copters and stuff, but they might do that before that because they've said there might be an event before Gen Con, didn't they?
Yeah, they hinted at something, but and since then there's the big silence, and maybe they just are better than any other companies and in keeping their secrets and actually not teasing people that much that they are giving away too much of anything. But we will just have to wait and see.
They have been actually really good on some of the stuff that's dropped that we've just seen, especially for Crisis Protocol. Like the minis and stuff that they've shown off. Some of the more recent ones when you weren't even in the pipeline, and they've shown some of the stuff off, and it's like this is coming and this is coming. Like they showed Kraven the Hunter before the Spider-Man sort of the trailer dropped that they did and stuff. So I think they're quite good at keeping a hold of their shall we say, their secrets that they are, say, compared to other gaming companies out there. But I guess we'll see. I'm just wondering whether they are going to move into doing larger vehicles.
I don't think so. I think they will. The current base size we are having with the
Flyers.
8080 and the what's the tank from the Clankers again?
The AAT and the Saber tank as well.
I think those are the biggest we are going to see. Anything bigger is going to be unplayable on almost every table.
Yeah, I was just wondering with them doing the flyers that are coming, especially the LAT IE, whether they may be tempted to do a LAT gunship.
Tempted possibly, but I can't see him doing that because these things soak up points. And
yeah, they do.
There's almost just so many people that are actually buying everything. So
yeah, I must admit, I'm only getting clone stuff, and even then, it's only Galactic Republic stuff at the moment.
So getting back on topic, the first episode is, I think, going to be more a short movie than a series, possibly, and
It's
very likely to have a big cliffhanger or something, or plot twist.
well, I think the plot twist might be Crosshair going, but that's just going off some of the merchandise and stuff we've seen, and the non hints in the trailer almost of not seeing him. But then in this past week there was a I don't know where it was. Was it Disney Plus India or somewhere showing up basically the synopses for the first two episodes, like a Disney Plus page. And
Whoopsie.
Yeah, whoopsie indeed. So that's where we've got the running times. So the first episode's 70 minutes, which equates to the same as when they launched Rebels, the original Rebels pilot episode, Spark of the Rebellion, I think it's called. Have I still got it, or did I dump it because I've got Disney Plus now and don't need it? Yeah, I dropped all of them, didn't I? Was 60 minutes, I think. Or was it 45? No, I think it was 45. But that's because it was running on TV anyway. It was like 2 episodes joined. Yeah.
Mm.
They did the same with season 2 of Rebels with where Vader turns up.
Yeah.
That's when Vader first turns up in Rebels.
Which almost made me turn off the series because he looks weird.
I suppose it's the animation style, isn't it? It's not the same.
Not only the animation style, it's the proportions. The face mask looks off.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. The pilot for Rebels, Spark of the Rebellion Parts 1 and 2 was a total of 49 minutes. The Siege of Lothal was the same, but that's because they're operating on the constraints of running it on, I think it was Disney XD or
television with inserted ads.
Yeah, and things like that. So where we're looking at something that's popping up on Disney Plus, the sort of the Siege of Mandalore was the same that they did. Or Heroes of the Mandalore and Rebels was the same, but they in the final season stuff, you're talking 40 minutes, but where you don't have to, where you're not constrained by a series, of ads and slotting it within a specific space. You can run a pilot as for as long as you want. Look at the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, which was 60 minutes.
Yeah, I think Disney is really grasping the concept of we don't need to restrain ourselves with anything because it'll run as long as it runs and people will watch it nonetheless.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is people will bums on seats sit down, watch it whenever they want, but they'll watch it, and the length of
And they watch it in
time.
one go, and most people will get their beverages and snacks and go to the toilet just before to have an uninterrupted event of whatever it takes.
Well, they've just added a section to Disney Plus. So I'm looking at the browser here, and it's a May the 4th be with you section. Ready? So it's got a nice animated intro and things when you click on it, and it's got all of the Star Wars stuff. That's there. But and the thing, as I was saying, was we know that the running time, and it sort of gave a very, very brief one-line sort of synopsis of the episode, which didn't really give anything away. But the second episode, which is on Friday, so we're getting the pilot to the release date was probably always going to be May the 4th to tie in with Star Wars Day. For people who don't know, it's Star Wars Day. Friday.
I think it's safe to say the 5 people listening to this podcast actually know of May the 4th.
Yeah. And Friday is the second episode, and the second episode mentions them going to see an old friend. Now, if eagle-eyed people that watched the second trailer noticed that there was a certain white clone trooper commander they go and meet. They go and see Rex.
Possibly.
No, it's Rex. You see him in the trailer. And if you look close enough, you can see the markings on the helmet and stuff.
Okay.
So the blue markings that he's got on his helmet. But yeah, the thing is Rex. But also in the trailer, earlier in the trailer, they meet up with Saul Guerrero as well. So Saul Guerrero's coming into the Bad Batch at some point, and Fennec Shan, as we know, is going to be there as well.
Isn't Saul? I don't know.
Saul Guerrero was in.
I'm just thinking about when he died. Didn't he die during Rogue One?
Rogue One, yeah.
So this would put it technically in the timeline just shortly before Rogue One, then.
This is way before Rogue One. This is straight after the rise of the Empire. That's what it's in. The Bad Batch is basically.
Oh yeah, never mind me. I'm talking shite.
Are you getting your timelines crossed?
Oh, totally.
Are you crossing the streams
there, Tim? I'm crossing the streams as if there was no tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's yes. So it's the young version of Saul Guerrero, not the version we saw in Rogue One.
So we're getting the young version from Clone Wars then.
Yeah, we're getting the Clone Wars version after, and it's because it's set later in the Clone Wars timeline per se.
Yeah.
You won't see his sister because his sister died. Was killed by the clankers and stuff. So this is possibly the rise of his sort of the resistance that he had in Rogue One, which weren't part of the main resistance. So it's probably the start of that.
Him more or less making a branch of his own.
Yeah.
A bit more violent.
The other thing I know that has been mentioned, and it's mentioned in a bunch of the different, like Star Wars Explained or Star Wars Meg, or the different YouTube channels and things, is there's at least the composer is the same composer from Clone Wars, and he posted up. He did an interview, and in the interview he said he just finished scoring episode 14.
14.
1-4.
Okay.
So the rumor is we probably will be getting 20 episodes of the first season. In that case, that's going to push it. If you think of it this way, we're getting 2 this week coming, and then every episode after that. So you're talking 19 weeks. So that's going to push it right the way through until autumn,
Mhm.
which then means we'll have a short wait for the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, better a short wait than a long wait, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because we know we're getting the Book of Boba Fett, and then we're getting Mando next week. Not next week, next year, but we don't know exactly when we're getting Mando next year, along with Kenobi and I think Andor's next year as well.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they don't spoil any of those.
I think with Star Wars Day, the rumor is that we may be getting some some either production shots or maybe a trailer or something here.
Mhm.
For some of them. The thing this past week that I saw mentioned was Hayden Christensen signed on for multiple Star Wars things, not just Kenobi. So one of the rumors is popping up is are they actually going to take some of these stories from the comic books that have been created, and are we getting a Vader series?
I don't know if I really would want a Vader series.
I'm wondering because one of the things that people have been asking for, and there's been rumors about it, is Doctor Afra. Do you know the character?
Not really.
It's from the comics, and she's an archaeologist that's hired by the Empire and is actually hired by Vader. That's the premise of the
I
character.
never was high into the comics, so.
She's a very popular character. So maybe they're thinking about maybe we can do, Doctor Afra as a series because Vader is an integral part of that character. We've got Hayden there.
The thing
Why not?
is, what strikes me most interesting about the character that is Vader and has been the same for Boba Fett is we don't know anything for certain, and that makes it quite interesting. Often there could anything pop up from his dark side past,
Yeah.
or even before that. And if you start making series about every part of their lives, you're taking away from this mysticism part, at least for me.
I'm guessing as well is that you could fall into the trap that Solo had.
Yeah, that's the worst example you can do it. I think the peak in that movie was actually how he allegedly got his name.
Yeah.
That scene was so cringeworthy. No, it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, Solo worked as a good heist movie,
Yeah, but
and that's what it was. You
it,
could have
it
had any
didn't need
characters
to
there.
be Star Wars, nor
No.
did it to need to be the origin story of Han
Yeah.
Solo. The story itself was a nice heist movie, but that's it.
They could have actually used and it could have still had the character in it, and not had that beginning. It had that origin, yeah. Because there's a Timothy Zahn Legends novel called Scoundrels, I think it is. And what it is it's Han Solo getting a group together to do a heist. Yeah, so it's like Ocean's 11 in space.
Mhm.
And they could have easily done that, used that as the premise of the movie, without having any of the origins. So you could have had a young Han Solo with getting a crew together to pull a heist. You know, you could have thrown in if you wanted to, throw in some origin bit. You could have thrown in how we got the Falcon. Had that how we met Lando. So you could have said it during that period and just cut out that beginning, chunk of it.
Yeah, I don't mind the way they introduced him to Chewbacca, which
No,
actually
which is true. Which is how it happened.
aligned very much to everything else that was in the expanded universe before. But everything around it was so forced. At least it
Yeah,
felt forced.
yeah. Timothy's yeah, it was an Ocean's 11 heist caper type of event. Came out in 2013. The novel did.
Mm.
It's a good novel, actually. It's enjoyable, and at the end of it, you have a meeting between Solo and Fett.
Oh,
Yeah, at the end of the novel, because it's roughly around the time of just before the Battle of Yavin. So it's around the time when he heads to, he's got the bounty on top of his head, and Jabba's after him, and he's heading to, that basically Tatooine.
what was the quote? After the encounter with the bounty on
On his head
planet
from Jabba. Yeah,
Planet X, I need to get this bounty off my head.
yeah. It was the before the Battle of Yavin. It was when the one
It's when Empire
Yavin
Strikes Back,
4.
when he is
Oh,
leaving.
Dantooine. After the issues on Dantooine, the bounty hunters we ran to in Order Mantell.
Yeah,
That was it. So yeah, it's that book is a good book, and I do recommend it. Yes, it falls under the Legends category because it was written post or pre Disney taking over.
well, who cares for such things?
Yeah, but it works, and it's really good. It's a Timothy Zahn novel as well, and it's followed up by another novel I do recommend as part of the Legends called Allegiances. And what that one is the basically it's an introduction novel of sort of Mara Jade, but also it introduces a rogue collection of stormtroopers.
Mara Jade introduction. I think she's been in way older.
She was in way older novels, but this is like where you see her pre taking on, pre heir to the Empire. So this is her pre heir to the
Before
Empire.
she's actually the hand of the Emperor.
She's just starting out as hand of the Emperor.
Oh, okay.
She's playing an 18-year-old in this. Her character's age is 18, but the idea behind it is you have a bunch of stormtroopers who are not clones. They're humans, and they are basically at the beginning of the novel has them landing on a planet, and the ISB orders them to do things on the planet that that they don't want to do, pretty much, which is kill white herd people and put down an insurrection of sorts. Yeah.
Yes, being awful Imperials as they always
Yes.
are.
Yeah. So think of the ISB agent that makes Mayfield shot in the face. Sort of that type of character, and they don't do it, and this ISB agent finds out, and they end up killing him and leaving on an ISB ship, and they end up becoming a group of stormtroopers called the Emperor's, the Hand of Judgment. So they're wearing the full stormtrooper gear, scout armor and all that as well, but they call themselves the Hand of Judgment, and they sort of intersect with a mission Mara Jade's doing at the beginning. It's really well written. It's another, good Tim Zahn novel, and I know this is going off track a little, but with the Bad Batch centering on a clone force, there is precedent within previous novels that sort of little group works.
Yeah, and especially, I think especially if you look at stormtroopers after the Clone Wars, when actually there were, in quote, normal people introduced into the ranks, the possibility of people being morally objected to things that are asked of them is quite high.
Yeah, well, FN Finn, from the latest sequel trilogy, we don't know his backstory, but we know he objected to what was going on at the beginning of that beginning of that
and
film.
I think it's easy to say that he's having some weird mental training, to call it slightly.
Some sort of crisis of conscience is probably the way to describe that. That was going on.
And I think he's getting told by our silver shiny girl, what's her face?
Captain Phasma.
Captain Phasma, that he should report for mental rearrangement or something.
Yeah. What a waste of a character that was. Sorry, Phasma could have been, and she is an interesting character, especially in the novel Phasma, which is about her. But they sort of underused the character in the prequel, the two of the three movies, But
They did that with a lot of
yes, they did
characters.
that with a lot of
But
characters.
that's
But
a completely different episode,
it
I think.
is definitely. But so we know that the first episode's 70 minutes. We know the second episode's 30 minutes, and the second episode has some bump in the sort of the info saying that they go and see an old friend. So I'm wondering, like I said, that this might be where they go and meet up or encounter Rex.
Do you think Disney will embrace the method they used for Mandalorian with giving the episodes no coherent length, but just
Yeah,
let them run as long as they are?
I think so. I mean, I think with an animation, it's probably easier to have that coherent between 25 and 30-minute length. Depending on, because remember, say the episodes are probably 25 minutes when they run, yeah, because you're gonna have 5 minutes of credits, yeah.
Mhm.
So I think we'll probably get the standard sort of 25 to 30-minute episode length within an animated series, and I think Dave Filoni's quite good at sticking to that, because of most episodes of Rebels and Clone Wars were of a specific length. Yes, granted, it was because they were sitting on a TV series, but sitting on a network. But I'm just looking here at the first season of Clone Wars, and there's a disparity of lengths between the first episode, which was Ambush. The very first episode of the first season was 26 minutes. The second episode was 28 minutes. So there's that variable running time, shall we say, between all of them.
But I'm not really convinced. I would like for Disney and other manufacturers that do episodes for streaming services to get rid of this cage of we need
Yeah.
this to be exactly 30 minutes long. No, you don't.
No,
If you give yourself a window of time for, let's say, you aim for 30, but everything between 25 and 35 is okay as well, go for it. Don't let
yeah.
these, because more often than not, I've felt in episodes past that either they were filling with unimportant stuff or they were cutting things way too short just for the sake of getting it all in. It always
Yeah.
feels weird. Don't
Yeah.
don't restrain your writers.
Yeah. I think as well, and I think Disney has sort of embraced old style television in the fact that you've got to wait a week to get the episode. Yeah. Where I think with when Netflix first started churning out TV series, it was that binge watch mentality, wasn't it? Where
Yeah, and
we'll drop everything, sit and watch it, in a day. But there's none of that, and that's where I think you felt some of the filling coming in, because say for example, in the classic one is some of those Marvel Netflix shows like Daredevil and Defenders is a case in point. That was 12 episodes, but it could have been at least just shortened by 4, because some of those episodes were just, well, apart from just being overly bad in its story structure, just felt like they were filler. There was no progression of story.
yeah,
Where I think when you look at the Mandalorian, we can all say within the Mandalorian that there might have been filling episodes.
yeah,
Yeah,
but they all
progressed the
added to
story.
the character of the
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
or it progressed the story.
Yeah,
Episode 2 of season 2, the spider episode. The passenger.
yeah.
Is the episode called? A lot of people thought, and I did as well. I thought it was a little bit of a filler, yeah, but it was progressing the story.
But
We
you
were
only
learning
learn
about.
that later.
Yeah. It is true. We only learned that later, but still, it was a story progression, wasn't it? It was leading. He crashed on. He encountered some Republic's X-wings, ended up crashing. We found out, Grogu likes to eat tadpoles.
Caviar.
Caviar indeed. But it's still, and then it led to him going to that planet where he encountered Bo-Katan and stuff. But where he was dropping the passenger off. Granted that that was all part of the arc anyway, but it still had a progression of the character, because we got to learn a little bit about Grogu more, and we got to learn, a bit about the passenger.
Yeah,
So we got to learn about incidental characters as well.
yeah, and
that
I
type of
think what Disney has done right with not shoving out binge watch packets is actually keeping a arc of suspension and, for their own good, keeping subscribers.
Yeah.
The ones who want to binge watch wait with their subscription until every last episode is there. Then you go in 1 month and hog all. But everybody else who wants to see the earliest they can get, they need to stay subscribed.
Yeah. Also, it's been said this sort of past week, past bit anyway, was the fact is that Netflix has lost subscribers this past year. Their subscription rate's still high, and they are still the leader on the whole thing.
Yeah, but I
their
think
subscriptions have gone down.
that's a thing that was inevitable, and we all knew that this would come one day, especially since other channels like Amazon, like Disney, and what else on this planet is available. There's just so many to choose from, and for me personally, Netflix hasn't gotten very good content in recent times. Most things they shell out feels short-sighted. And I'm still waiting for a couple of series to get another sequel. There's Space Family Robinson.
Oh, you mean that the third and final season of Lost in Space?
Yeah, how long has that been? Why can't they finish that?
I think cool. I think a lot of the issues we have is standard television issues at the moment, which was COVID hit. They were all gearing up to start filming, and then bang. So
this episode that has been on hiatus for way longer than COVID. This is one of the very first episodes or series that I watched on Netflix. So
yeah,
and
I saw the first season of Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a trailer that was put out in August last year for season 3.
Well, then they didn't make a very good job of advertising, because it's on my wish list and I didn't see the trailer or any announcement.
The third and final season of Lost in Space, or might just been a digital spy thing, arrives in 2021. That's on that Twitter. That's on that Twitter account.
Yeah, we are half through the year and I haven't seen anything.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking here at what they said. The Netflix set a rather general release date of 2021, which was just as well because production was delayed. Still shooting in September of 2020. They announced completion in 2020 in January of this year of the filming of it. So you'll probably see it in 2022.
Yeah, let's see when it comes out.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, it's simply these anything they shell out on Netflix in recent months hasn't really drawn my attention.
No, it's a strange one because Netflix are throwing money at things. I mean, I know we're getting
they've got so much on their menu. And not just them, also Disney and Amazon.
Yeah.
So you start looking, and half an hour later you say, "Why am I even looking? There's nothing that really catches my eye."
Yeah, it's a strange sort of situation. I know that we're interested in what's coming from Star Wars, but we know for a fact that this year we're getting 3 Star Wars things, because I think Visions is due this year as well, which is the other animated sort of thing that's got I think it's manga or animators doing it. It's a bit like the Animatrix with Star Wars Visions. I think that's due this year. But live action wise, we know that we're only getting Book of Boba Fett this year. And then next year seems to be the big influx of, well, we know we're getting Kenobi. We know we're getting, I think Andor's definitely due next year, and we know we're getting Mandalorian. But where do these sit? Are they going to do the same thing that they did with their Marvel shows, where in February, was it February? I think it was February, we got WandaVision. And then virtually the week after WandaVision aired its making of episode, which is, under their version called Event Assembled, Marvel Studios Assembled, which is the same as the gallery stuff that they did for Star Wars, we got Falcon Winter Soldier, and now we're going to have to wait until June till we get the next one, which is Loki. But in that time period, we know we're getting the Bad Batch, and I'm wondering, are we going to be getting a making of the Bad Batch when this first season completes? Which would be nice to see.
Would be something interesting, to say the least.
Because that we know that process has totally changed from when they first started animation, when George started the Lucasfilm Animation Studio, to season 7, because there's that behind the scenes footage that they released of Ray Park coming back as Maul, and doing the motion capture for Maul, and Sam Witwer doing the voice of Maul, and seeing the people, like Sam and the people watch as Ray Park was, doing the motion capture stuff for that final fight with Ahsoka.
I think Disney is doing quite a good job of letting us not know much in advance currently. They tease us enough to get us speculating, and the amount of info they actually hand out is, let's phrase it this way, it's enough to be hopeful. And if they don't drop the ball, I think they can make 2021 really their year.
I think
at least from a Star Wars fan's perspective.
I think we are. I mean, we know for a fact who seems to be running the Star Wars ship for their shows. We know it's Favreau, and we know it's Dave. Dave Filoni. We know it's Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau is predominantly the driving force behind the live action stuff, and Dave's probably the predominant driving force behind the animation. That we know. I'm not too sure about Visions and where that sits. But we know that that those two gentlemen are fans at heart, and just love the franchise. And Dave was the one that's probably in the best position because he was handpicked by George to run Lucasfilm Animation Studio.
Yeah, I think those two are, not calling them fanboys, but they are of the same spirit that most of those are who like watching Star Wars. They see the movie, they feel the same feelings, and I think they know how to convey those feelings in a new way with the new series and animations they done.
Yeah.
So they don't just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, but they know this works. We just need to adjust it a bit, and then we can run with it.
Yeah, and I think the thing behind the power behind that is that because Dave was there at the beginning, and he understood what George was trying to do and George's story. Because to be honest, whatever we say about Star Wars, whether we liked or disliked the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, I think we can just put to one side slightly, because that probably didn't have the handprints of George on it, compared to the prequels and compared to the original trilogy and compared to the animation. Because whatever we say, we know for a fact that especially the Mandalorian, I'm not sure the first season, but definitely the second season, George was on set. George was there. They were talking to George, and there's been conversations with George. So it's still got his DNA, his thumbprints in there somewhere. From some of the conversations that you sort of see mentioned, some of the pictures that were posted up on Instagram by the actors and stuff.
Yeah, and I can also see Filoni and Favreau being in the conference call with George, just throwing ideas around, talking, maybe having a drink, and just see what sticks. And this chemistry is what makes things go. If people just do it for the money or for the exposure, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But as long as they can get some kind of weird friendship working within it, I think that's where the energy comes from.
Yeah, it's definitely does. And at the end of the day, we Star Wars it's the story, really that's the essence behind it. It's this myth that we've grown up from the 70s. It's a modern fable. We know it's a modern fable. We know George stole from Japanese cinema and
No, he didn't
the heat.
steal. He was highly inspired.
Yes, exactly. So he used the hero's journey concept, the seven arcs of a hero within story, and the ideas behind myth and legends, and he wanted to create a modern myth, and he did. And now we have the gatekeepers of that myth driving that story forward, and that's John and Dave. And whatever happens with the Book of Boba Fett, whatever happens in season 3 of The Mandalorian, whatever happens with Rangers or the Ahsoka show, we know that definitely with Ahsoka, from the rumblings that seem to be going on with, is they are picking up threads from stuff that Dave created with George, and that's the what you call it stuff, the world between worlds.
Yeah,
There's the rumblings that that's going to be playing a part in the Ahsoka show.
I'm guessing we are in for some surprises for the
I,
upcoming shows,
I
and
think we
I
are.
generally hope they all will be positive.
Well, I mean, we may get hits, we may get misses. It's the nature of,
Yeah,
shall we say, our fandom.
I just hope they don't. I hate to phrase it this way, but I think it points it most accurately. I hope they don't put a solo to any of these.
I can't see them doing that. No, I can't
Neither
see
can
them.
I, but we can't be sure unless we've seen
True,
it.
very true. But I think from the point of view of the shows that are coming, I think the only one that we don't know anything about because of previous issues with season 2 of The Mandalorian and some of the people involved with that is the Rangers of the New Republic. We know that Ahsoka is going to be Dave's baby, and we know Rosario Dawson can kill it as Ahsoka Tano without a shadow of doubt. That live action introduction. I think the live action introduction from that, the big one, is going to be, if it is who people think it is, it's going to be Thrawn. That's going to be the big sort of TV seismic shift in Star Wars, I think.
Yeah, but I think we should spare that for another time of
Definitely.
discussion.
Definitely. But I must admit, I am really looking forward to.
Yes, so am I, but
The Bad Batch.
still vigilant. I think Bad Batch will be. I hardly see it to be any bad, because if Disney does anything well, it's bloody animation.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing even if it doesn't live up to all hypes, Bad Batch will be a nice, entertainable TV series. Not so sure about any of those series. We haven't seen anything on. But then again, they surprised us with The Mandalorian, so let's just hope for the best.
Definitely.
Prepare for the worst.
No, I never prepare for the worst.
Okay, I said we would make this a short one, and I'm feeling my energy being depleted by the minute.
It has been short.
Also, my drink is almost empty, and my bladder is full, and I'm a rambling old man.
Yeah.
Ralph, thank you for this short introduction to The Bad Batch. We will meet again Sunday after we have seen all 3 episodes that are going to be released next week. If you don't hear from us again, they were terribly bad, and we just don't want to talk about it.
We give up. We're just going to go and keep to our day jobs.
Yeah, we stick to poking people at AMG about Epic Fighting Legion. Okay, everybody out there, thank you for listening. We will see you again next time. Bye.